Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So let us start with the prayer. So welcome everyone. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Radhanath Swami Namane Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Paricharine Nirvisheshunyavadi Paschadeshtami Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurum Dintaranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So for the eager listeners of Chaitanya Charitamrut, thank you for coming. There are certain products in the market which not everybody can afford. Prabhupada would say that some people would ask Prabhupada, why not so many people come to Krishna? So one of the answers that Srila Prabhupada would give is, where is the bigger crowd? You find the bigger crowd in an original jewelry shop or in an imitation jewelry shop? So the devotee said, no, imitation jewelry, there are so many people to buy, but actual jewelry, very few people come. Why? Because not everybody can afford to pay for the original jewelry. But everyone wants imitation. So when it comes to the highest of the highest dharma, especially that which is connected to pure unadulterated devotional service, very few are fortunate to understand its value and be willing to purchase it. Of course, the purchase here is not in terms of money. Rup Goswami very beautifully says, Tatra laulyam ekalam mulyam janma koti sukrutir apina labhyate. There's only one price of this Krishna prem, of Krishna consciousness. Laulyam. What is the meaning of laulya? Anybody knows? Laulya. Laulya means greed. So normally we say greed is a bad quality. But greed for Krishna and greed for Krishna consciousness is the most desirable virtue. And it is so desirable that without this greed, you cannot purchase Krishna consciousness. In fact, Janma Koti Sukruti Rapina Labhyate. Even if you have punyas accumulated over Koti births, 1 crore births, you still cannot get the gift of pure Krishna consciousness. So, of course, maybe not all of us can claim that we have the currency of Laulya to pay, but at least we have entered the shop. Yeah, at least we are showing willingness to buy the real product. Okay, so that is also appreciated by Krishna, and Krishna will gradually make us qualified as we make sincere endeavors. So Krishna appreciates those who do not get sidelined by Kaitava Dharma. And we'll be discussing a bit about this point today, because Chaitanya Charitamrita, first chapter, discusses this point. What is the meaning of Kaitava Dharma? Cheating religion. That religion which appears like religion, but is not actually religion. We will keep that discussion for a little later in our conversation, and then I'll make clear about what exactly we mean by this. But again, I just wanted to start by congratulating all of you that you have shown interest in the Leela of that personality who is the greatest distributor of the highest wealth. What does this mean? So we were just giving an example of this gold shop. Yes, so many of us may not even have the bank balance to buy this gold, and this gold, I'm talking about the gold of Krishna Prema. But just imagine one day this shopkeeper who has these innumerable gold necklaces, bangles, gold bars, rings, chains, all kinds of golden items, suddenly is in such a good mood that he packs a bag of all the topmost precious jewelry in his shop, comes out onto the streets and says, "Come, come, come, sale, sale, sale." Still nobody comes. He starts running behind people who are walking around on the street, taps them on the shoulders, gives them a gold necklace. Says, "No, no, 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 too expensive, I can't afford." "No, you just give me whatever you have in your pocket. I only have 11 rupees. 11 rupees also okay, give me. Take this gold necklace." And he goes around to each and every person giving the highest wealth at throwaway price. That is the speciality of who Lord Chaitanya is. That Krishna Prem, and we'll be discussing this. This is discussed in greater detail in chapter 2, chapter 3. But I just wanted, this suddenly came to my mind, so I thought I will just share this, that we can understand and appreciate our good fortune. Because by hearing this Chaitanya Lila, what are we doing? We are showing willingness and eagerness to purchase. And Lord Chaitanya is looking for customers. Because in Kali Yuga, hardly anybody can afford. He's saying, "Oh, so much jewelry in my shop, nobody is willing to purchase, nobody has the laulya to purchase. Let me go out and induce them to purchase." Marketing program at very throwaway prices. So this is when, the Lord gets so excited that he wants to distribute the greatest wealth. So we'll discuss that in a short while. So I just want to congratulate you that you are all willing to hear. So thank you so much. I wanted to speak, you all wanted to hear, so it's an excellent combination. And it is equally beneficial. So all of us will get purified, and we are hoping and praying to Lord Chaitanya, to Srila Prabhupada and all our acharyas, that we can increase our laulya at least a little bit as we hear through this. And that is the success of this endeavor, to develop greed for Krishna Prem. Maybe not so much, but at least a little bit more than what we have today. That will be a wonderful achievement. So in our last session of Chaitanya Pravaha, we have done 2 sessions. This is the 3rd one. We discussed, of course, we gave an overview of CC. We discussed about what the Adi Leela covers. We also went through the first 14 verses of the first chapter of the Adi Leela. And we discussed how the first 14 verses themselves form the Mangal Acharan, the auspicious invocation of blessings of the Lord and his devotees, that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes at the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita. We also discussed how Practically the first 7 chapters of the Adi Leela are actually an explanation of the 14 verses. So what we are going to do is, we are going to go through those 7 chapters very quickly. Because if I go very slowly, it will take 3 months to go through the 7 chapters, and it's all philosophy. So I'm going to give you a quick overview. We will do first, second, maybe a bit into the 3rd chapter today also. And then let's see how much we can cover in the following session. Okay. So for those who are reading along, it's going to be a bit fast for the first few sessions, because we are going to go through the first few chapters a little bit faster, so that we can cover more ground. So the 14 verses offer prayers, very beautiful prayers, offering obeisances as well as invoking blessings of the Lord. After the 14 verses and the 15th verse is the famous prayer to the Panchatattva-atmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. After praying to the Panchatattva, and we discussed this in the last time, that's why I do not want to go through that again. We discussed the 5 aspects of Lord Chaitanya as Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita, Srivas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit, and what aspects of the Lord they represent. After that, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami offers obeisances to the 3 most prominent deities of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Which are the 3 most prominent deities? Madan Mohan, Govinda and Gopinath. Now we can speak so much about these deities, but we do not have so much time to discuss about them. Chaitanya Charitamrita briefly speaks about these deities, a bit about Madan Mohan, a bit about Govindaji also, not a lot about the Gopinath deity though. But I will briefly explain. There are 3 beautiful verses which offer obeisances. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says these 3 deities, Madan Mohan, Govinda and Gopinath, are the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Why they are the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Because our whole Krishna conscious philosophy is divided into 3 aspects or 3 stages, you may want to say. Sambandha, Abhidheya and Prayojan. Sambandha means what is our relationship with the Lord. Abhidheya is what is the process to establish that relationship. And Prayojan means the attainment of the goal of re-establishing that relationship, which is pure love. And the 3 deities, Madan Mohan, Govinda and Gopinath, represent these 3 stages. Sambandha, Madan Mohan ji represents Sambandha, Govinda ji represents Abhideya, and Gopinath, the Lord of the Gopis, represents Prayojan. So these 3 deities are the life and soul. Essentially, a devotee starts by worshipping Madan Mohan so that his heart gets attracted. The heart which is now attracted to Madan, the god of material love, we want it to be attracted to Madan Mohan, he who is the attractor of Cupid. So there is a pastime that Madan, who's most attractive, extremely attractive male, most good looking, handsome, smart amongst even all the devatas, and extremely and can immediately infuse anybody with attraction. It is said once when he heard about Krishna appearing on this planet, once he went to see Krishna. Everybody is saying Krishna is beautiful, but I am so beautiful. I cannot figure out how Krishna can be more beautiful. So he went to see Krishna. It is said when Cupid, Madan, Kamadev, saw Krishna in Vrindavan, when he saw Krishna's beauty, Madan fainted. How many of you have fainted on seeing anybody's beauty? Anybody here has fainted? Madan is the most beautiful. He just saw Krishna and he fainted. Actually fainted, not an exaggeration. So Krishna became famous as Madan Mohan. He bewildered Madan by his beauty. That is the extraordinary beauty. So Madan Mohan represents that ability of the Lord to attract conditioned souls, love, attention away from matter and towards his lotus feet. So we want to first approach Madan Mohan. I'm explaining this in brief. We can go into so much detail on this point, but in the interest of time. Then Govinda. So for Madan Mohan, there is a very beautiful prayer. It says, Jayatam Swartau Pangor Mama Mandamater Gati Mat Sarvasva Padam Bhojau Radha Madana Mohanam. That the Supreme Lord Radha Madan Mohan are actually my directors of my life and they are my supreme shelter. Then when a devotee advances and engages in devotional service being attracted by the Lord, then his worship is said to be the worship of Radha Govinda. Because Govinda means he who gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. The devotee engages his senses, the go, in the service of Govinda. So that is the process of engagement. That is the Abhideya process. So the Abhideya deity is Radha Govindaji, which was worshipped by Srila Rupa Goswami. Madan Mohan was worshipped by Srila Sanatan Goswami. So the Pranam mantra for Sri Govindaji is Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpad Drumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastau Shri Shri Radha Srila Govinda Devau Pareshta Livi Sevyamano Smarami. I want to serve and remember that divine couple, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, who are seated within a jeweled temple under a beautiful Kalpavriksha tree, surrounded by their associates and served very wonderfully. I want to serve. Service, active service is Abhideya, and Prayojan is the ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas? To participate in the topmost Leela of Krishna, Rasa Leela. And who is at the center of the Ras Leela? Krishna. And what is he known as? Gopinath. Krishna's form of Gopinath is Krishna's topmost manifestation. Shriman Rasa Rasarambhi Vamshi Bhatatataspitah Karshan Venu Swaner Gopir Gopinatha Shriyastunah. May that Gopinath bless us, who is standing under the Bamsi tree, Bamsi Vata tree, on the banks of the Yamuna, playing his flute, the fifth note, and in that way calling all the gopis and attracting them to him. Shriman, calling them to participate in the Ras Leela, invitation. Krishna doesn't send WhatsApp message. Krishna plays flute. Come, everybody come. And the sound of his flute, the fifth note, penetrates the deepest core of the heart of the gopis and attracts them. Irresistibly they get attracted. That is the perfection of life. When the devotee finds that his attraction to Krishna becomes irresistible, that he cannot forget Krishna ever, that he is just drawn to Krishna. Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Mamshi Bhatatahastita Karshan Venu Swanair Gopir Gopinatha Shriyastuna. May that Gopinath bless us. So very, very beautiful prayers. And there are pastimes about these deities across the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we will discuss later. So we also, as readers, we also offer our obeisances to Madan Mohanji, Radha Govindaji. So in your heart also offer obeisances, and Shri Shri Radha Gopinathji. So like I said, we discussed already how in the last class Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains the 6 features of the absolute truth, which we have already covered. He speaks about the gurus, the diksha and the shiksha, the bhaktas, who are the sadhakas and the siddhas, the avtaras, which are of 3 types, amsha, guna and shaktyavesh, and the amsha avatars themselves are of 2 categories, purusha and leela avtaras. And then he also talks about the prakasha expansions of the Lord, which is the 3rd category, and the prakash themselves are divided into swayam prakash and the vilas expansions. The prakash expansions of the Lord are those expansions which are direct copies of the Lord. Like in Ras Leela, Krishna makes copies of himself. He replicates himself in front of all the gopis. That's known as a prakasha expansion. When Krishna is in Dwarka, he's in 16,000 palaces simultaneously. They're all exact copy, identical. I don't want to use the word photocopy because that will be offensive. But it is an exact copy. Photocopy is also not exactly identical. This is almost exactly identical. Why I use the word almost? Because there is one who's original. But for all practical purposes, they are equal. And Vilasa expansions are those expansions of the Lord which have a slightly different feature from the Lord. They're not an exact copy, but they have slightly different features. For example, Balaram, Narayan, and all these other expansions are considered Vilasa expansions. So that is the 4th category. And then the Shaktis. We discussed about the Shaktis briefly also. And we discussed how the consorts of the Lord, there are 3 categories of consorts, those in Vaikuntha, Lakshmis, the Mahishis of Dwarka, and the Braj Gopis of Vrindavan. And then finally, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Isha, who is Krishna himself, who is ultimately the source and shelter of all these other 5 aspects. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami offers obeisances to all these 6 categories, and we have discussed that already. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also expands on the 2nd verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita further in the 1st chapter. And I want to spend a little bit of time on that because there are certain very beautiful philosophical points which are important for us to understand. That verse is a very beautiful verse. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoditau Gaudodoye Pushpavantau Chitrau Shandau Tanonudau. The Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have arisen simultaneously. The sun and the moon have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda Desha and have dissipated the darkness of ignorance of all living beings. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains this is very important to understand. That the living entities in Kali Yuga are suffering so much in ignorance. And just like we gave that example earlier, how the gold shop owner comes out on the streets to give away his goodies. Normally living entities are in the ignorance, and they're generally suffering until somehow through their karma and somehow they come, they evolve themselves. They're generally so trapped. But here the Lord is making special effort. Both Krishna and Balaram as Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are coming down to earth to chase the living entities individually through the medium of the chanting of the holy name, Sankirtan, and trying to wake them up. Wake them up from the nescience of ignorance. Jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole. Kota nidra jago maya, Pishachi rakhole. That you are sleeping on the lap of the witch called Maya. Wake up, wake up, wake up. And in Kali Yuga, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explained, there is a big danger. The big danger is even those who are considered religious or spiritual, there also there is a problem. Why there is a problem amongst even the religious and the spiritual people? Because it is very difficult for people to even understand what is real religion. This is the problem of Kali Yuga. that real religious principles are so difficult to understand, and people get diverted by Kaitava dharma. What is Kaitava dharma? Kaitava means cheating. Cheating religion. Now this sounds very contradictory, right? How can religion be cheating? Cheating religion, religion cheating. It's like, the true lies. How can the lies be true? So cheating religion. So that which looks like religion but is cheating. So this point is explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says the problem with the following of dharmic principles, especially in Kali Yuga, of course this can happen in any Yuga, but especially in Kali Yuga, is that people follow dharmic principles, dharma, just to get artha, just to get some benefit. And they use that artha to get kama, sense enjoyment. So how this can be actually religion? Because if you are just aiming all dharma ultimately at sense enjoyment, then it is still selfish. This is selfishness. This is not real religion. Correct? Isn't that what 99% of the population is doing? They're just using religion as another means to get a better material condition. So this is not real religion. And the remaining 1% who may get frustrated with material enjoyment, what do? They want mukti. They want to become God. That is also considered cheating religion. Why is that cheating? Why is both kama as well as mukti considered cheating? Is very interesting. It is considered cheating because it cheats the jiva from the real potential which is within the jiva to experience the highest state of pure Krishna prema. It cheats the jiva, because when a jiva gets trapped into simply following religious principles with material motivations in mind, either to free one from suffering or to attain material enjoyment, he continues to remain in the cycle of birth and death. And he can never attain the real topmost benefit for living entities. That is why karma, which leads to material enjoyment, and jnana, which could lead to liberation, both are not considered as the highest means, because both keep one preoccupied essentially with material ambitions. But the real ultimate objective, the real artha, prema pumartho mahan. The real artha is the panchama purushartha, not artha dharma kama moksha, but bhakti is the panchama purushartha. Prema pumartho mahan. The highest artha or the highest attainable object is prema. Why? Because what is it that is ultimately desirable to all of us? This is very important to understand. So please hear this attentively, because these concepts that we are discussing are very, very, very important to understand Krishna consciousness. If you miss this, you may miss the real purport of what bhakti is about. So please listen attentively as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains. Prema pumartho mahan. All activities we do is because we want some kind of satisfaction, fulfillment, happiness, bliss, isn't it? Those who are looking for material enjoyment are also looking for happiness. Those who are looking for mukti are also looking for happiness. Are we looking for something else? Anybody going around actually looking for misery? No. Anandamaya abhyasat. The very nature of the living entity is to look for bliss. So the problem is not in looking for bliss. The problem is in what are you looking for bliss? Our problem is not in the expectation of happiness, but in what we try to find happiness. So both material enjoyment and liberation are not satisfying the innermost core of the spiritual living entity. The spiritual living entity cannot be satisfied no matter how much material enjoyment he gets. Brahma Bhuvana Loka. From the lowest up to the highest Brahma Loka, the living entity will not be satisfied with material enjoyment. Even liberation doesn't fully satisfy the living entity. And that is what the Bhagavatam says. That Aruyya Krichena Parampadam Tataha Patanti Adhoho Anadrita Yushmad Angrayaha. That such a person may come very close to getting fully perfect, may even come to the point of Brahman realization, but still falls down because he does not experience the bliss of bhakti. Because the soul can only be satisfied completely when it establishes itself in its Swarupa. What is the meaning of Swarupa? His own constitutional position. What does constitutional position mean? Constitutional position means the real nature of a particular substance. In this case, when we say use the word substance, we're using it loosely, but substance here refers to the Atman, the soul, for a lack of a better word, because we're in the material world. The spiritual substance, the Atman. The Atman, the self, the Jiva is eternally a part and parcel of the Lord, and everything that is a part and parcel, it is the innate, natural function of the part to serve the whole. Because it is designed like that, it is made like that, that is its DNA. By definition, by nature, the Jiva is servant of the Lord. And because of that constitutional nature, the Jiva can be fully satisfied only when it is situated in that function. Function of Seva. What kind of Seva? Selfless, loving service. And that is why any religious principle which falls short of leading one to that highest goal, from the perspective of the topmost goal and the topmost scriptures like Bhagavad is called Kaitava. And that is why Kaitava or cheating, and that is why Bhagavatam in the very beginning rejects all these kind of dharmas which fall short of taking the living entity to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharma projita kaitavatro paramo nirmatsaranam satam. That's what the Bhagavatam says. That this Bhagavatam rejects at its very onset all cheating principles of religion. A very bold statement to make. Because that is 99% of scripture. Because all other aspects of scripture are helping the Jiva to come little higher, but it's not giving the Jiva the highest. It's bringing them higher. Because sometimes even to understand what is the highest, you have to come higher. Of course, those who are very fortunate to get directly the association of pure devotees, they are blessed with that understanding immediately. Otherwise, it takes some evolution for a living entity to appreciate this point that prema pumartho mahan. And that is why Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they are so special, because they have arisen not just to give dharma, artha, kama and moksha, but to give the highest prema to everyone. They want to teach everyone that how you can attain the highest goal of prema through the two types of Bhagavatas. The book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. The book Bhagavat is the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a book on pure devotional service. And the person Bhagavat is the living personification of the book Bhagavad, because he lives the teachings of the Bhagavad. And in his association, one can easily understand the actual secret message of the Bhagavatam. So through the grace of these two Bhagavatas, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda give that facility to all of us to associate so that Krishna Prema may get instilled within our hearts. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have come and they are dispelling the ignorance and giving the light of Prema. They are giving us Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prema through the medium of the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami makes it very clear. So this Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, they are so kind and merciful that they have come to give the highest to the lowest. Why lowest? Kali Yuga, what do you expect? I mean, of all places, if you want to give the highest spiritual principles, Kali Yuga, this is a good, good time to go. It's like the same example, right? You go into a slum with diamond and gold ornaments to sell. What kind of customer or how many are going to be able to afford? But that is the compassion of the Lord. And we'll discuss more about this point a little later, of how the Lord feels so compelled to share this greatest wealth with everyone. So an important lesson, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, book Bhagavad, person Bhagavad. Very, very important for development of Krishna Prema. Then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami focuses on the Vastu Nirdesha. I think it is the 4th verse, if I'm not wrong, amongst the 14 verses. And he expands on that. We are not on the 4th verse. We are on the expansion of the 4th verse. The Vastu Nirdesha. Vastu Nirdesha means, what is this book about? Who is this book about? This book is about Lord Chaitanya. Who is this Lord Chaitanya? And we discussed this also in great detail in the first and the second class. What? Unless we understand who is this personality about whom we are hearing pastimes about, we will not understand, we will not be able to value and appreciate the greatness of these pastimes and able to tap into their potency. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami spent some time trying to explain who this Lord Chaitanya is. So I'm going to summarize. He spends many verses on discussing this, but I'm going to summarize this very quickly. He says that the supreme absolute truth is described across the scriptures, across the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, as having 3 features. Vadanti ka tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdate. The supreme absolute truth is realized in 3 levels. Brahman, the unlimited effulgence. Paramatma, the localized amsha of the Lord in everybody's heart. And Bhagwan, the supreme personality of Godhead, who's the source of Paramatma as well as the source of Brahman, because Brahman is described as Angabha. Angabha means it is the effulgence coming from the body, transcendental body of the Supreme Lord. So there is light, and the light is coming from a bulb. So bulb is like the body of the Lord, and the light is like the Brahma Jyoti. Something like that, just so that we get some understanding. So the source of the light which is emanating is the bulb. So Bhagwan is like that, he's the source. So the Brahman is realized by the Jnana yogis, the Paramatma is realized by the Ashtanga yogis, and Bhagwan is realized by the Bhaktas, because Bhagwan is the most complete feature, Sat, Chit and Ananda. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, many people think that when we speak about Bhagwan, that the original Bhagwan is Narayan. Because that is the general understanding in the Vedic tradition. Who is the Supreme Lord? Narayan. That he is the original Godhead. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami now argues on the basis of scripture as well as logic that people think that the four-armed Narayan is original and the two-armed Krishna is an emanation from Narayan. Correct? Four arms must be bigger than two arm wala, no? Because it sounds like four is bigger than two. But that is not actually the right logic, because Krishna has a very human-like form. So people think, oh, that four-armed God must be the real God and this two-armed must be a part of him. But actually that is not the right logic. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains on the basis of the Srimad Bhagavatam that this is not correct logic. So he shares a very beautiful pastime first. And I'm going to spend a few minutes narrating that pastime. It's a very beautiful pastime. This pastime comes in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the Brahma Vimohana Leela. So Brahma Vimohan Leela is the Leela in which Lord Brahma was bewildered by Krishna. This is the Leela where Brahma stole the cows and the cowherd boys from Krishna when he had departed a little distance searching for the cows who had gone to graze. So most of us are aware of this pastime, so I'm not going to go into the details. And then Brahma hid them in Brahma Loka in a cave, and then he came back here to earth only to find all of them still there. And he became so confused. I just left them there and locked them up. How come they are here? So he went back again to Brahma Loka to check. Oh, they're still here. Then he came back. Oh, they are here also. Then he became confused. Who's real? This is real or that is real? And Brahma is the master of mystic powers. Can you imagine? He gave benediction to Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu had all mystic powers. Imagine Brahma's mystic powers. But Brahma couldn't figure out what is going on. He couldn't figure out, and he got so bewildered. And when he became a little humble, because he was trying to test God, thinking him to be perhaps an ordinary person, suddenly all the cowherd boys and cows disappeared, and instead of them, in each form of that cowherd boy and calf, transformed into a four-armed Narayan form. And suddenly Krishna was standing in the middle, surrounded by thousands of Narayans. Brahma is like, totally taken aback. Wow. And this is not any virtual reality show. This is supreme reality show. He was like totally besides himself. And he showed all of this, all these Vishnu forms, Narayan forms. And then after some time, when he was bewildered, all these Narayan forms, they went and merged into this form of Krishna. So Lord Brahma understood, oh, this Krishna is the source of Narayan. Not one Narayan, so many Narayans are coming from him. It is not the other way around. So very beautiful conversation happened between Lord Brahma and Lord Krishna. Lord Brahma, when he realized his mistake, he started praying to Krishna and begging for forgiveness. And one of the things he said, oh Lord, you are my father. See, I was born from the lotus which came from your navel. And you gave me birth. You are both my father and mother, because I don't have any other mother. I am Swayambhu. You are both my father and mother. And you see, mother doesn't take offense if the child commits a mistake. This is actually very beautiful. We don't have time to go into these details, but very beautifully he says, even the child is on the lap of the mother and drinking the milk of the mother, but the child is kicking the mother. Still the mother doesn't take offense. So like that, please excuse me like a small baby in front of you. that I tried to act over smart, and I am now so embarrassed that I tried to show off my mystic power in front of you. You are Yogeshwar. I have been totally outsmarted. Let anybody in this world say that they know you. I also thought I know you. But I am admitting, Brahma is admitting, written letter, written declaration, affidavit by Brahma. I declare today that I, Brahma, no longer claim to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I don't know anything about you. You are so great and so unlimited. So he says many prayers like that. But after that, Krishna, like a little boy, when he winds up all the Narayana expansions, Krishna again takes the role of the little boy and says very sweetly to Lord Brahma, "Oh, no, what is this you are saying? Your father is Narayana. I am just a little cowherd boy. How can I be your father? So don't say like that. I am not your father. How can you be my son?" So Brahmaji says, "Oh, now you don't try to cheat me. I know who you are. I know that just like there are so many earthen pots, but the source of all the earthen pots is mud. All the earthen pots are manifested from the same mud. Similarly, all these various expansions, all these Narayan forms, all these forms of God are coming from you. You are the original source. You are the boss. I have figured out now. You are the boss of the bosses. You are the God of the gods. Deva Deva Jagatpati. You are the ultimate cause, Nidhana. You are the ultimate Ashray, the shelter. You are the super soul of everything. Brahma says that I take shelter of you. You are the source of everything material and spiritual. You are also the source of the three Vishnu forms from whom this cosmic manifestation comes. Mahavishnu, from whose body the unlimited universes come. Garbhodakshay Vishnu, who is my immediate father in that sense, because I appeared on the lotus which sprang from his navel, and Shirodakshay Vishnu, who is situated as the Paramatma. You are the source of all these three. Actually, all these three Purusha avatars, they, even though they are transcendental, they interact with Maya for the purpose of material creation. But you, Krishna, you have no association with the material energy. You are always playing with your spiritual energy, Srimati Radharani. You are just descending on this earth to display your divine Leela. You have nothing to do with this material creation. You are the boss of all the bosses. All others are busy with work. You are the one who is only engaged in play. You are Leela Purushottam. All others are working. You are the boss because you only play. So like that he starts very beautifully describing, and then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also explains how even in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's position is explained, just like in this pastime Krishna's position is revealed. It is said, Ete chamsha kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So many incarnations of the Lord, Amsha and Kala are described, but Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is not avatar. All these are avatars of Krishna. Krishna is not listed as the avatar. Many people say Krishna is the 8th avatar of the Dashavatar. No. Krishna is nowhere referred to as an avatar, neither in Bhagavatam nor in what is known as the Dashavatar Stotra. In the Dashavatar, the 8th avatar is described as Balaram, not as Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He is Swayam Bhagavan. He is the big boss. Normally, he will send Amsha and Kala only to do the job. When does he come personally? He comes personally when he wants to please his dear devotees and attract them back to him. Once in a day of Brahma, he descends into this world to attract the heart of all living entities. And that is why Krishna is known as Avatari and not as Avatar. Avatari means he from whom all the avatars come. The Bhagavatam also explains Krishna as the ultimate Ashraya, the ultimate shelter. Even though so many incarnations of the Lord are mentioned, There are 10 topics of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the last one is known as Ashraya. Atra, Sarga, Visarga, and so on, it goes on. Ishanu Katha, Manvantara, Uti. There are 10 topics covered in the Srimad Bhagavat, and the last one is Ashraya. Nirodha, Mukti, Nirodha, Ashraya. Ashraya means the supreme shelter. So the Ashraya Tattva is described in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Ashram is the supreme shelter, and in that topic of Ashraya, the full description in the Bhagavad is only about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, what does that mean? That means Krishna is the ultimate Ashraya Tattva. In fact, there is a very beautiful verse in the Bhagavad, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's not here in the first few chapters. It is quoted later, but I just want to quickly mention it. Ekale Ishwara Krishna Ara Sakala Bhritya. Only Krishna is the exclusive boss who has no other boss. All others are servants, including all other forms of God are also servants. Why? Because even though they are boss for their subordinates, they also have a boss. Correct? Just like a manager may be a manager for his employees, but he is a subordinate to the senior manager. But the senior manager is a subordinate to the director, who may be a subordinate to the CEO or whatever the hierarchy is. But he who reports to no one, he who is fully independent, is Krishna. That is why Krishna is described in the Bhagavatam as Abhidnya Swarat. Swarat means fully independent. Who can be fully independent? He who doesn't have to report to anybody else. Fully means he can do anything. You cannot go to court and say Krishna did like this. Go to Supreme Court. Oh no, Krishna is doing like this. You have to fix him. He's not. Krishna says, I am the law. I am the origin. I am the master. What I say goes. That's all. End of story. So you may say, oh, this is a very dangerous situation. No, it's not dangerous. Why it's not dangerous? Because he is simultaneously most kind. He is simultaneously most merciful. He is the most loving also. So such a autocrat who is extremely merciful and kind is actually the greatest benediction. So no need for us to worry, oh, we have an autocrat. Krishna is a transcendental autocrat. And that is the greatest blessing. And that is a great blessing for devotees. You know why? The reason why it is a great blessing for his bhaktas is that Krishna is so bhakta vatsal that Krishna will even break the rules of the system to deliver his devotee, even at the cost of the rest of the world. He'll say, to hell with others and what others think, I don't care. Krishna can just say, I want to deliver. I want to deliver all those who are attending the Chaitanya Pravaha series. Who are coming every Wednesday and listening to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories. And all the rest of the world can come and complain. Why Gaurachandra's Das Chaitanya Pravaha is so important? Why not my class is more about this? And all that may be true, that my class may be the least significant. But Krishna can take that position and execute it and nobody can challenge him. You understand the point? I'm not saying that this is true. I'm just making a technical point. Okay. What that means is nobody can challenge Krishna's position. And that is a great benediction, because if you attract Krishna's attention and his favor, nothing and nobody can stand in between. You have to understand what is his power. He has absolute power. Absolute. So that is very amazing. So Krishna is the shelter of all. Krishna also has 6 Svarupas. I'm going to briefly mention this. We are coming to the end of the class. Krishna has 6 Svarupas. First is he has 2 kinds of manifestation, which we already discussed, the Prabhava and the Vaibhava. Prabhava are the fully potent like himself, and the Vaibhav are those which has slightly different features. He also has two types of incarnations, the Amsha, which are partial, and the Shaktyavesh, who are empowered. And he also appears, this is about Krishna in particular, in two ages, namely Balya, which is childhood, and Pauganda, which is boyhood. So these are the 6 features of Krishna. And this Krishna has 3 Shaktis. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing the supreme truth about whom we are talking in Chaitanya Charitamrita. 3 Shaktis, the spiritual energy, Chit Shakti, which is present in the spiritual world and sustains the spiritual world and the Lord and his paraphernalia, the Maya Shakti, which manifests this material world and the innumerable universes, and the Tatastha Shakti, the Jivas, all of us, who is the marginal potency between the spiritual and the material, and who is given a choice by Krishna. Krishna has gifted each one of us with free will. Even though we don't possess anything else, there is one thing which Krishna has given us, which he doesn't take away in any situation, and that is free will. The free will to choose him or to not choose him. So even though he's the supreme autocrat, you know, the amazing thing about him is he will never force you to accept him. The choice is always ours, the Jivas. And that is why we can also never blame him, because we are always responsible for our own situation. The Lord facilitates and helps, but the choice is always ours. So we are the Tatastha Shakti. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami concludes this section by saying that this Krishna that I just described, this Krishna, who's the supreme Ashraya Tattva, who's the source of all Narayans, who's the transcendental autocrat, who has all these 3 energies from whom the Purusha avatars come, this fabulous, autocratic, unlimitedly powerful, compassionate, loving God came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is not different from Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya and Krishna, not different. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, nahi anya. Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is not an avatar of Krishna. Just to be technically correct. In a loose sense, sometimes in our conversation, just to make others understand, we may use sometimes the word he is an avatar of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not an avatar of Krishna. Who is he? He is Krishna himself. Oh, but he doesn't look like Krishna, because he's Radha and Krishna. That's why this Krishna is not black. He is golden in complexion. So that aspect we will discuss, why he is golden, why he came down. So in the next 2 chapters, by the way, as of now, it is 9:59, we have completed the first 2 chapters. Haribo of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Super fast. And most of the points we have covered. Most of the important points. Please read. Those who want to read along, please read. So the first 2 chapters, the second chapter is on the Tattva of Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's establishing, the second chapter is basically focused on Vastu Nirdesh. Who is this Lord Chaitanya? He is Krishna, but who is this Krishna? He is the source of all Narayans. He is the source of the Purusha avatars. He is the source of these unlimited energies. That big boss of all bosses. He came down in Kali Yuga to give the highest wealth to everybody. So the next question will be, hey, what happened? I'm just saying in colloquial language, hey, what happened? Why he came? What suddenly took over him? Just like I told you, right? Suddenly you see the gold shop owner with a bag on his back coming in on the street giving gold ornaments to everybody. Everybody says, kya ho gaya aaj? Kya hai aaj? What happened? Why suddenly the gold shop owner? He normally never comes out 364 days a year. This 365th day, why is suddenly coming, running out, giving gold to everybody at cheap prices? It must be fake gold. So all people will speculate and say so many things. So the next two chapters are dedicated to why he is behaving like this, why he came, what is his mood, what is he thinking, why is he behaving like this. So the next couple of chapters, which we'll discuss the next time, is the external and the internal reasons for why this Krishna came to this world in the form of Lord Chaitanya, because that is also a very important philosophical concept to understand. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami very beautifully ends most of the chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita by saying Rupa Raghunatha Pade Raho Mora As Prarthana Karoe Kahe sorry Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna, something to that effect. Let me look up that exact verse. He ends most of the chapters by glorifying Rupa and Raghunath, praying at the lotus feet. Sorry, I'll recite the exact verse. My apologies. At the end of chapter 1, yes. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yara Asa Chaitanya Charitamrit Kahe Krishna Das. And there are slightly different flavors of this across different chapters. But the words Rupa and Raghunath appear in the shloka typically at the end of most of the chapters. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishnadas narrate Chaitanya Charitamrit following in their footsteps. So let us offer our obeisances also to Rupa and Raghunath and seek their blessings and also seek blessings of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So as I end, a quick question, why is he seeking the mercy of Rupa and Raghunath? Anybody who has attentively heard the previous classes? Why Rupa and Raghunath?
They are their gurus.
Huh?
Krishnadas Kaviraj gurus.
Who is the guru of Krishnadas Kaviraj?
Swarupa Damodara.
No. Who's the immediate guru of Krishnadas Kaviraj?
Raghunath
Das Goswami. And who's the guru of Raghunath Das Goswami?
Swarupa Damodara.
Rup Goswami first. Raghunath Das Goswami's guru is Rupa Goswami, and Rup Goswami was under the shelter of Sarup Damodar Goswami. And Sarup Damodar Goswami was the personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Raghunath is his immediate guru, and Rup is the guru of his guru. Just like we offer obeisances to our guru and also offer obeisances to Prabhupada, correct? Guru and Param Guru. So he's also offering obeisances to his guru and Param Guru, because he learned about Chaitanya Charitamrita from Raghunath Das Goswami especially. And Raghunath Das Goswami learned a lot from Rup Goswami. Of course, Raghunath Das Goswami was personally fortunate to get some amount of personal association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself as well. Okay, so I'm opening up the floor. Any questions, comments, anything? Are you all happy with the way things are progressing? Is it too boring, too technical? Any feedback is welcome. I saw one thumbs up by Sridhar Prabhu. I hope that means it is going okay.
It's very good, Prabhuji.
Thank you. One
Okay,
more
Prabhuji.
thumbs up. Bhaskar also. Thank you. Okay, so I'm open to any suggestions. I want to keep the pace such that it is not too slow, it is not too fast. If I go too slow, it will be too philosophical, because the first 12 chapters, as I mentioned, are extremely philosophical. So I'm giving you an overview. Again, I want to reiterate, I'm not covering all the arguments and all the principles which are covered in the chapter, but I'm giving the principal highlights and the principal arguments. So you may still want to read the chapter and at least the translation, if not all the purports, so that you can do that. Yes, Ankan, Hare Krishna. Thank you. So I'd like to also welcome all those who are joining. I see a few names. So whom I'm seeing for the first time. Those who have joined for the first times, if you're okay, I would, can you just turn on your video and introduce yourself very quickly, just 1 minute, and just tell your name. At least I get to know you. I see a few names. I don't want to embarrass any of you, but I see a few, but I leave it to you if you're if you are comfortable. Of course, Utkarshini Mataji is here, so we welcome her. But I see a few other names as well. Anyway, I see. Is that Ram Gopinath Prabhu? Ram Gopinath. I see one. Ram Chandra Rao Ram Naidu. I think that is Ram Gopinath Prabhu. If it is, my humble obeisances to him. Anyway, so thank you all very much. So I'm assuming there are no further questions. So just a quick announcement before we conclude for today. So Friday, 1st July is Rath Yatra. Hari Bol, Shri Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra Maiya ki Jai. Hari Bol, Dandavad, Ram Gopinath Prabhu, my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. You're on mute, Prabhu. I can't hear you. Still on mute.
Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, wonderful, Prabhu.
My Dandavats to you, please give your blessings. Ram Gopinath Prabhu is a very, very senior devotee. And so I seek his blessings. Thank you for your encouragement and any corrections, any additions, Prabhu.
No, Prabhuji, we also senior devotees. I'm learning a lot.
Oh, no.
Haribol.
Prabhu is leading the Clang Center, Prabhu, at the moment also.
No, Prabhuji, I'm in a team C now in KL, Jagannath Mandir.
Oh, wow. See, I am so out of, disconnected. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So thank you, Prabhu, for joining and giving your blessings. So like to thank all of you for coming. So I was mentioning about Rath Yatra. So Rath Yatra, please join. Jagannath Mandir is celebrating Rath Yatra on 1st. So I have already posted in the WhatsApp group the schedule for those who are in KL. So please look at the schedule. There'll be a Rath procession and there'll be Prasad at 9 p.m. I think Rath procession begins 4:35, something like that. Around there, I need to check again. So you're welcome. You're welcome to bring some offerings for Jagannath. That will also be nice. If you want to offer some seva to Jagannath in Puri, I've already posted some details about that. We have a pujari who will arrange for offering offerings of bhoga and other things to Jagannath. So please reach out. I have the details of the contact are also in the post. And please come when wherever you are. I think most places are celebrating. If you're in India, whichever places, there are also Rath Yatras. This is a very, very wonderful opportunity. The whole philosophy of Rath Yatra is actually so integral to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Because the Rath Yatra festival, the spirit of the Rath Yatra festival is exactly the mood of Lord Chaitanya. Because Rath Yatra is the gopis and the Radharani pulling Krishna from Dwarka back to Vrindavan. They don't want Krishna in Dwarka. They want, come. Why you are there? You are supposed to be in Vrindavan with us. Let us go to Vrindavan and dance and do the Ras Leela there. That is the mood. And that is the innermost mood which Lord Chaitanya is experiencing of separation from Krishna. So all these things we'll discuss in great detail in the subsequent chapters and throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's a very, very sweet festival. So the whole purpose of the Rath Yatra, very briefly, is not just about pulling a rope and it's not a gym exercise. Yes, Prabhu, I did some 4 hours of exercise. I pulled the Rath. That you can go to gym and do, but here we are pulling Krishna. Where? For us, we are trying to pull Krishna into our hearts. We want to welcome him into our heart. We have to make our heart like Vrindavan and welcome. So it's very, very auspicious, very powerful to pull. So don't miss the opportunity to pull the Rath and offer some seva to Jagannath ji. Yeah, I think that's about it. Today is also the auspicious disappearance day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we seek his blessings. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Acharya in our line. Prabhupada's Guru is Bhakti Siddhant. Bhakti Siddhant, after him is Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we seek his blessings also, one of the very, very great acharyas in the modern times. So please, yes, I hope to see you, those who are in KL, on Friday evening. Okay. So take care and have a good evening. And anyway, I will see you on Saturday as well on the class. So we'll continue our discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam on Saturday. And for those who are in KL, I'll see you on Friday at Jagannath Mandir as well. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hari Bol. Thank
Hare
you. Thank you. Kamadaki Mataji, thank you. Nice to see you also.
Hare Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Thank you. Ram Gopinath Prabhu, Dandavat
Thank you,
again. Thank you
Prabhu.
so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Tata Pranams. Thank
My
you.
humble obeisances. Hari Bol.